Let me bring in family law attorney Holly Davis. She's in Austin, Texas with us today. Holly, what'd you think seeing that little clip there where she said it made her happy in a way, and you could see how Gail King was surprised that she had that reaction?
I think that's a perfectly natural response for a victim who confronts the abuser. And what's really fascinating and a really good development about this case is that it includes the voices of Black women in the Me Too movement. And so most of the defendants, if not all of them, the victims that testified against R. Kelly were Black women who had suffered at his hands. And it's really a good day for those victims who can feel that they're included in this movement in the music industry to really hold accountable these artists who are doing these atrocious behaviors and victimizing women and getting away with it. I mean, R. Kelly has been the subject of these investigations, these types of investigations, for probably 30 years now. And for this particular victim to sit across from her accuser and have her voice be one of many voices that led to finally a guilty conviction of this once very powerful and popular singer and talent, we cannot forget that he is musically talented, is a good day for victims in the courthouse all across this country.
It sure is. This case was historic for many reasons, especially the way that the federal government fashioned the prosecution. It's something we've talked about on this show many times. I thought it was just brilliant the way they went about doing this, being able to go back in time to include all those crimes by the way in which they invoked the RICO statute in particular. And we have another clip where Clary is talking about how all of his behavior was normalized by everyone. And the way in which the prosecution presented this, they made him the leader. They said, you are the leader of this enterprise and everybody is controlled by you. And everybody around them, was accepting and perpetuating the abuse. Let's take a look.
Everything that we were living in had become very normal. And I had to break out of that. I had to realize that this is actually abnormal.
Yeah, the dysfunction was so prevalent that after a while it did feel normal to you?
It did, because it was not only me, it was other women who were older than me. When I met him at 17, he had 4 other women. And so these women are all normalizing his actions. And then you have assistants normalizing his actions. And you have workers and security and everyone else that normalizes it. So me being very young at that time, I just learned to normalize it.
Yeah, what an impression all of that behavior made on her. Holly, I want you to weigh in on what she just shared, please.
She's describing that fame is contagious, that power is contagious, and opportunity is contagious. And we see this also in the Jeffrey Epstein case, and even in times in the Britney Spears conservatorship case. There are enablers around this bad actor who don't want their lifestyle and their opportunity to change. And so they make value and ethical compromises to continue to support this bad behavior because it serves their interest to be close to fame, to be close to power, or to financially benefit from the situation. And that's exactly what this victim has described. I think it's brilliant of the prosecution to really describe this system, this organization this way, because what it does is it places the responsibility not only on the abuser, but on the enablers around that abuser. Because we know that someone can't get away with a 3-decade crime with multiple tens of victims, tens of 20s of victims, without the help of several people. And those people are just as responsible as R. Kelly himself.
I think many of them are lucky they weren't charged. I mean, and clearly the main actor, the main bad actor, the main predator had to be held accountable, and that's Robert Kelly. So good on them for doing that. And they probably wouldn't have gotten that testimony if they hadn't fashioned the prosecution this way. But I agree. There were a lot of people behaving very badly, allowing this to happen to those girls.